Well, hey everyone, welcome to Hello Church. My name is Justin Trapp.
And I am Wade Bearden, and I think we've got a really fun podcast here today. We're not going to go super long.
Yeah, it's a fun, quick hitter.
But just drive in a couple of runs and then go back to the dugout.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about 5 apps for church team collaboration. And I know for a lot of people, a lot of churches, maybe you have a big team, maybe you have a small team, maybe you have people in office or outside of office, maybe you're bivocational, you have people who work at the church or bivocational. These apps are going to help you collaborate and keep you on the same page, because if you aren't careful, communication, collaboration can be everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think we put together a list of 5 really good apps to kind of help people collaborate and communicate in the church.
Well, and we're partial, full disclosure, we're partial to these lists or these apps because we use them here at Ministry Pass.
Yeah.
And so we're very familiar with them. I think one of the main principles, right? I think how many to-do list apps have you tried, or calendar apps? I think that one of the most important things you can do is just commit to something and kind of learn all about it and adopt it, because a lot of the apps, project management apps and communication apps and all those types of apps, they're very similar, right? They do have some nuanced offerings, but commit to one. Don't just keep switching every 3 months because it's not necessarily sticking. So let's dive right in. And we're breaking the cardinal rule. We're leading with the most vanilla, mundane point ever.
Yeah.
But as the first point.
But the thing is,
might be the most important though, right?
It might be the most important. And here's the thing. You might know about this, but it's important that you work with your team and get everybody on it. Yeah. Because if half the people are using this half the time, it can kind of disrupt the overall usage. So the first one is Google Workspace for nonprofits.
Yeah, and this is pretty straightforward, right? So for the mainstays of communication, email, right? We use Gmail, we use Google Calendar, we use Google Docs, we use Google Drive, and our team, they all use the same thing, and it's very easy. And I know Google actually makes it really, really easy for you to utilize their Workspace for nonprofits. They have a nonprofits section, and I do believe you get a discount, if not some part of it free. So I would check that out. We've used it for many, many years, and the thing for me is we don't use PCs, but I don't have to install Outlook on a server, or get the IT guy to come out. It was really easy. I set it all up myself, and then we just add our team members as they, as we add to our team, we add them as a user on our Google Workspace, and they get access to all the apps that we collaborate together on. Yeah,
and it's just so important, I think, to collaborate with documents where everybody can see and everybody can work on it, because if you're using just straight Word and maybe you have the cloud version and somebody else doesn't, when they make edits, this person can't see them, this person can't. It just can be kind of a mess. But when you commit to a system, you have those files on hand at all times, whether your computer fries or maybe you get a new hard drive. It's just always there for the team to access it. So I would encourage you to use that if you're not using it. The second tool that we have begun using, I think, in the last year, that I feel like for me, have fallen in love with. We've pushed all of our team members to be on it, all of our groups to be on it, and that's Slack. There are a lot of different ways that you can use Slack, but Slack really helps to collect conversations. You can create threads, you can create channels, and all of your teams can kind of talk to each other. So the youth ministry can create a volunteer channel, or the children's ministry can create a teaching team channel, and you collaborate, you share docs, you talk with each other. And I like it because I think all of our channels on Ministry Pass and Sermonary are visible, so teams can check up on each other, and we can kind of just see, hey, what's going on with marketing, or what's going on with our engineers, And that's really helpful for me personally.
I know every now and then, just for kicks and giggles, I'll dive into our developers channel and just try to understand what they're referencing. It never works, but I do attempt it from time to time.
Yeah, just go in there and talk about the latest Flash trends or HTML code. Impress our developers.
Flash, may it rest in peace. Thank you, Steve Jobs. What I love about Slack, here's the difference between Slack and email, right? Email, I would say we use email now for more formal communication with outside vendors, outside parties. If we need something, official to a team member, or just something more important, I'll send an email. But for every day, like, we communicate daily, hourly, minute by minute on Slack. That's how we communicate now. We don't communicate one-word sentences in emails because it just gets hard to search. I mean, you've experienced this. You're looking for an old email that someone sent you, but you can't find it because it's buried beneath 1,000 conversational emails, right, with your team and volunteers. And so Slack is, you're not using Slack for project management. We're actually coming to that next point here in a second. You're using Slack for just everyday communication during the day while you're at the office.
Well, and things get really messy because it's like, okay, I emailed this person one day, and then I texted the person another day, and then, oh, did you get that? No, I didn't get that. It's just super easy to use Slack. You can download the app on your phone, and you can choose when you get notifications, when you don't get notifications. You can also download the desktop app on your computer, so you don't have to open it up in the browser. You just kind of have it there. So I would encourage you to get all your team members on it and create sort of a best practices and say, hey, I know this is going to be tough. I know this is different for y'all, but if you use it and you just really get into it, it's going to help you. And I say that because it happened to us, and we love it now.
For project management, I mean, there's all different types of project management apps, but the one that we use is called Asana. I'm going to let you talk about Asana because you're like an Asana ambassador.
I love Asana. I've used a couple different ones, right? I feel like I've used all the main players. So Monday, Basecamp. I like Asana, and it just depends on your preference. So whatever you do, just choose to dive in. I chose to dive in with Asana. I love it because I can create different I can create different schedules, promotions in there, different projects. And within those projects, I can create sub-projects. And so I can see big picture, what's happening with my team. I can see the progress. It also allows my team members to remember a due date. So if you're just emailing somebody, say, hey, this is the due date for this, it can be easy to forget about that or lose track of that. But when it's in Asana and you're getting sent notifications, it's so helpful
because you can assign projects to specific team members.
Team members.
It has all of the details in that project. It has the due date on that project. So on their side, when they're logged into Asana, they see, this is due tomorrow, and they have all that. So
it's all right there. I love it, and it's super easy to use. We have all of our writers, all of our graphic designers on there, and I feel like everybody's been able to pick it up super quickly. So it's just like, hey, here it is, and you could submit your file. So if I'm commissioning someone to write a sermon series on the book of Romans, we can have them submit their file in that project, and then we can edit that and submit the final project, and it's just all right there. Like, I see it right there. So I love Asana.
And we may have mentioned this earlier, but I think one of the main reasons why Asana and Slack have worked so well for us, to be honest, is we've required everybody on our team and our contractors to operate within these platforms. So it's kind of become a requirement. We're not letting this department over here do their own thing, and they're using Monday and they're using text messages. Everyone operates on the same system, and it has made life a lot easier. Sometimes they don't come. Sometimes maybe a person will come kicking and screaming, but eventually they end up loving Slack and Asana, and it works best overall. The next thing that we use for collaboration is for meetings, for actual meetings, visual meetings. Now, I know during the pandemic and in 2020, Zoom grew by the numbers were staggering. I personally don't like Zoom as much because I feel like it's a little clunky. It's a little like just sending an invite to someone. I'm like, where's the invite button? You have to send them a link. They've got to download the app and all those things. We use something called Whereby, and Whereby is awesome because you literally go to whereby.com / and whatever your link is, and you just send that link to people, and they immediately, if they're on a desktop or on a laptop, they immediately go to the meeting room. There's no delay. There's no installing anything. It's just bam, they're there.
It's real simple. It's easy, and I think for people who are new to video conferencing, it's just a good way to get them started because like, okay, I don't have to install Zoom. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I just have to click this link and I go immediately there. So we like Whereby, and we use it for all of our meetings now.
Yep. And the fifth app that you can use for church team collaboration is actually, we're a little partial to this.
We're a little biased with this one.
It's Sermonary. Many of you don't know this, and if you've never used Sermonary actually has a feature, a sharing feature in it. There's 2 ways that you can share and collaborate on Sermonary. The first way is, say you're pastor, you're working on a sermon and you want to send it to a pastor friend of yours who's like, hey, what do you preach? Do you have any sermons on generosity? And you're like, yeah, actually I do. I preached that one about a month ago. You can actually share, just send them, as long as they have a Sermonary account, you can send them all of your sermon file from Sermonary, and it pulls directly into their account, absolutely free. And that's a great way for you to collaborate with other people on your teaching team. You can share what you're working on with your message. And then the second way you can collaborate and share with Sermonary is we have something called Podium Mode, where you're working on your sermon, you go to Podium Mode, and that's sort of your presentation. But in Podium Mode, there's a share link where you can send your public Podium Mode view, excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied here, to, like, let's say your media crew, your sound guy. And so you just literally send them the link, and they can view it on their phone, on their iPad, on a laptop, and they can literally follow along as you're working through your notes in Sermonary. And so I love those 2 features about Sermonary.
Oh man, yeah, I love it too because it's a sermon writing word processor, but we built it to just help you as a pastor. And what you can do is maybe use Slack. If you do use Slack, every week you can just, in the general channel or maybe media team channel, you just post that share link. And so what you have now is the worship leader clicks it and they know exactly where you're going. Because every time I preach, the worship leader is like, hey, when do you want me to come up? And you're like, okay, well, see this point here on my notes. I want you to come up right down here. Don't come up here because I'm not done yet, but here. The media team, the lighting team, they all have access to that.
It updates in real time.
Yeah, it updates in real time. So if you make a change and you have a video and you move the video around, the media team can look up and say, okay, this video is coming during point number 2. I need to have it ready. So it's really fantastic. It's super easy to use. So it's a great tool. Like I said, we're biased. We really like this platform, but we like it for a reason because we believe in it.
Well, we were pastors, and so we built it for considering the needs that we had as pastors. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, it wasn't a lot, guys. Let's be honest. Wasn't that many, but if I'm honest, it was at least several times where I would send my notes right to the media team, and then Sunday morning hits, and I'm like, I updated my notes, or I updated my slide deck. Here's the new file, and I'm sending them into a scramble because it's like right before service. With the share link in Sermonary, you never have to worry about that because they get it updated in real time. So, and then lastly, so those are 5 apps that you can use for church collaboration. And the bonus one is, well, I mean, let's be honest, it's our podcast. We're the hosts. It's not really an app, but you can collaborate content-wise on Ministry Pass. Ministry Pass, we design Ministry Pass so that you can collaborate your content with adults, youth, and kids. And every year we release calendars. Yeah. And so when we release those sermon calendars, you'll see that a lot of the content parallels together. So your adults and your youth and your kids can all be working through the same passage at the same time. And I think that's really the beauty of what Ministry Pass offers for churches.
Oh, yeah. Well, right now, our church, so I'm part of the teaching team at our church, and we are working through a sermon series from Ministry Pass on the 7 signs in the book of John. It's actually not released yet, That's the perks, right? It's
Man.
not released. It's coming in October for the calendars, but we're using it right now during the summer. And it was really great for the lead pastor to send out that document from Ministry Pass, and he said, okay, here's what you're preaching each week. So I'm not preaching for over a month, but I know exactly the passage. I know the big idea. I know what's being preached 2 weeks before, the week before, and what's being preached afterwards. And that is super helpful when it comes to collaboration and creating a preaching team.
Yeah, and we know planning is a lot of work, but we believe in planning. We believe in getting ahead. And sometimes you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the margin or the team to really be able to plan that far ahead. It just takes a lot out of you to plan 6 months ahead of time, but we believe the benefits far outweigh that work. Yeah. So what we've done with Ministry Pass is try to come alongside you and aid in that process. And so not only is it going to save you a lot of time, but we believe it's going to help you be better prepared for the coming months as you plan ahead. So that's it, 5 apps for church team collaboration. And we're excited. What are your favorite? What are the favorite apps that your church uses on your team? Put that in the comment. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below. What is your favorite app for team collaboration? If you're listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, just give us a shout. Tweet us using our hashtag HelloChurchPod. And we'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, and also smash that like button. We've been joking around. Now hit the like button, maybe give us a share, ring that bell, and share maybe this podcast episode with your team members and say, hey, these are some tools that I'm thinking about using. What are your thoughts on this? And I think it'll help. For now, that's our episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Adios,
listening to
amigos.
Hello Church.